This is only the beginning. I'm here to break the game.
What is up, and welcome back. It's Skovos bringing you another Apex Legends video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the best tips and tricks to help master Apex Legends' newest legend, Revenant. So the first thing is first, anytime you want to master a legend, you will need to learn about their abilities. And the three abilities Revenant has is going to be his passive, which is Stalker, Tactical, which is Silence, and his ultimate, which is Death Totem. He is also a low profile character, meaning he's more difficult to hit and any damage taken will be increased by 5%. So the first thing we're going to touch base on is his passive, Stalker. This passive allows Revenant to crouch walk faster and climb walls much higher than any other legend. So the first portion of this passive ability is going to be his crouch walk speed. Now something I want to talk about right now before we move on from this passive is going to be the crouch walk speed is the same exact speed as his normal walking speed. It may look faster and a lot of people tend to believe that you actually move faster while crouching versus walking, but that is simply not the case. You can look at the game settings and see the velocity, it is the same exact speed. So you basically have two movement speeds with Revenant. You have either full-on sprinting or the crouch walk / normal walking movements. So besides that common misconception, one of the ways we can put this crouch walk speed to really good use is going to be using healing items while crouched instead of while standing. Because you don't move any slower while crouching, you can also lower your hitbox without taking a movement speed penalty. So because of that, there is only an upside, meaning that you'll be harder to hit and not have to move any slower by crouching. You can also spam crouch or crouch up and down erratically to make yourself a harder target overall without slowing down during those intervals that you are actually crouched. And the second way we can put this crouching mechanic to extremely good use is crouching around inside of buildings or while trying to escape or engage with enemies. Because when you're crouching, your footsteps are almost completely silent to enemies, unless you're right on top of them, but at that point, you'll already have the advantage. So another thing I want to note about this passive ability is that it's really good in those instances where hip firing is preferred. Because you're not going to move any slower while crouching, your hip fire accuracy will be increased while crouching and you'll be harder to hit. So it's a win-win across the board. So now moving on to the second part of Revenant's passive ability, Stalker. In the description of this passive ability, it says he can climb walls higher. And now that may be true, it may not work the way you realize. And what I mean by this is that Revenant actually loses momentum slower than any other legend while climbing, meaning that he can climb further, but it's not based on X amount of distance, it's based on the velocity he has or the momentum he has while climbing. So what we can do to put this to really good use is, for example, a wall that any legend can climb. So if any legend can barely get to the top, mantle over the edge, and get to the other side, Revenant's going to be able to do that, obviously, but he's going to do it much faster, up to 25% faster than any other legend currently in the game. So there's a few different ways we can get the most use out of Revenant's climbing ability. And because everyone in the game is used to legend climbing at the same speed, we can use the speed at which Revenant climbs things, even normal objects, that any legend can climb, to catch your opponents off guard or to escape faster than they can. Now the most obvious way we can put Revenant's passive ability to good use is by climbing things that are simply too high for any other legend. Now we do have legends like Pathfinder and Octane which have mobility based skills, but they either leave behind a jump pad, a zip line, or they're just really noisy in general, such as Octane's stem and Pathfinder's grappling hook. Now Revenant's climbing ability doesn't draw as much attention and is nowhere near as noisy as those other abilities. So the next time there's an enemy team on a cliff, setting up fences or gas traps inside of a building, defending an opposing rooftop, or gatekeeping you from the circle, and you're playing as Revenant, think about what you could scale, what you could climb, if there's floors you can skip, or some high ground that you could take advantage of that other legends simply would not be able to. So those will be the most useful tips and tricks I have for Revenant's passive ability, Stalker. And the next thing on the list is going to be Revenant's tactical ability, Silence. This ability allows him to throw a device similar to a grenade that deals 10 damage and disables enemies' abilities for 10 seconds. Now, as straightforward as this ability may seem, there's definitely times where you can completely change the tide of battle with this ability alone. And one of the most useful ways to use this is by hitting a Wraith after she's activated her ultimate before she puts down the second portal. So after she pops her ultimate, there will be the blue trail that follows the Wraith. If you manage to hit her with your silence ability, it will cancel her ultimate and not allow her to phase walk away, leaving the Wraith really vulnerable and probably pretty confused. And honestly, anybody who becomes good with Revenant and can shoot their tactical ability with pinpoint accuracy is going to be a major annoyance for Wraith and Pathfinder mains, since they have become so reliant on grappling away or using that phase walk to escape sticky situations. A well-timed silence will shut those characters down almost completely. Two other legends that this silence ability is going to work wonders on is going to be Gibraltar and Bloodhound, preventing the scan, the Dome Shield, and both of their ultimate abilities. Something else to note about this silence tactical is that if the ultimate is already active, it will not stop it mid-track. So if Bloodhound is already in his ultimate ability, it will not stop the ultimate. It will not make Wraith portals disappear once they're already placed, or Pathfinder ziplines, and so on and so forth. So the last thing I want to touch base on about Revenant's tactical ability silence is the area of effect on the ability itself. After shooting it, it does create a rather large visual effect, but the actual effect of the ability is not taking place throughout the entire visual of it. So keep that in mind with shooting it. You need to be a little more precise than you may at first realize. So because of the precision needed for this tactical ability, I highly recommend hopping into firing range and messing around shooting this ability a couple times to get the feel for how far it can affect your opponents. So now moving into Revenant's ultimate ability, Death Totem. With Death Totem, after activating your ultimate, you place a totem down that will protect its users from death. This counts for teammates and enemies, as anyone who comes across this can activate it and use it for themselves. Now, while using this ability, you will not take any shield damage, you will only take health damage. Once your health reaches 0, you will instantly be teleported back to the totem with 1 health and whatever shield you had before activating this. So after dying in the shadow form after using Revenant's ultimate ability, there will be a visual cue on screen letting you know that you're returning back to the totem, and that cue is going to be your screen turning gray and black. So if you're emptying R99 clips, throwing grenades, or spamming your abilities, make sure you back off just a little bit, at least when you're teleporting back to the totem. That way you don't spam grenades at your own feet and kill yourself. So as I said, anyone can use the totem, including enemies, so make sure you place this ultimate ability in a hard to reach area or an area that is safe from your opponent's view. It can also be shot and destroyed, canceling the ultimate ability regardless of where you're at. And don't forget that if you die in the shadow form after using Revenant's ultimate, when you return to the totem, you will have 1 HP remaining, meaning if there's a caustic trap or ultimate ability, it could instantly kill you. So something else to keep in mind while using Revenant's ultimate ability is to keep an eye out or keep it hidden from sight of people like Watson, Gibraltar's ultimate, Bangalore's ultimate, or anything of that nature. If they can throw some AoE such as thermites, arc stars, grenades, or ultimate or tactical abilities at the location of the totem and you get killed, you'll be teleported there regardless of whether you want to or not. Now, while under the influence of Revenant's ultimate ability, there will be a timer or indicator at the bottom of the screen, showing you how much longer you have before the ultimate effect wears off. If the effect wears off and you have not yet died and returned to the totem, you will remain wherever you are no matter what, and you will stay at the same HP you have. And for various reasons, you may not want to return to the totem. There could be an enemy team, or it could just be out of the circle, or an inconvenience overall. And if you want to cancel the ability, you can always just run outside of the radius of it, and it will wear off after 2 to 3 seconds of being outside of that circle. But either way, you should be keeping an eye on the radius of the circle at all times. That way you can step out of it and deactivate the ultimate effect if you need to, or you can stay inside of it and keep the effect without you stepping out and losing it without realizing. And Revenant's ultimate ability can be great for multiple situations. It can be used to push a final circle or to push inside of buildings with that safety net of returning to the totem. It can also be used defensively, putting it on a top or bottom floor of a building or hidden somewhere inside your team using the ability and then pushing the enemies trying to down 1 or 2. Once you return to the totem, you can either use that to re-engage, heal up, or escape from the battle altogether. And this ultimate ability pairs really well with some other Legends abilities, and just to name a few off the top of my head, you could use Gibraltar's Dome Shield around the totem to protect the totem itself and to heal faster after returning to it. You could use Lifeline's Dock healing drone around the totem to instantly start regaining health without having to worry about using syringes or medkits yourself. You can use Pathfinder's or Wraith's ultimate abilities to either engage quickly after activating the totem or to escape quickly after returning to it. You can also use abilities like Watson's ultimate to help regain any shields you might lose near the totem and deflect any grenades that may come into the vicinity. Another great way to use Revenant's ultimate ability is to challenge those long-range battles with that safety net, knowing that you won't die or be picked off if you go down. And in late game battles, when moving from cover to cover, if you're pinned down by somebody with a Kraber or something along those lines and you don't have a Wraith on your team or Pathfinder, or maybe their abilities are on cooldown, and this works especially well in ranked lobbies, you could put down the ultimate ability and use it to move from cover to cover. If you get shot and killed, at least you have that safety net and you're not wiped from the game altogether. So if I missed any tips or tricks, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. That way in my next video I can discuss those and people reading through the comments can learn other ways to utilize this legend. But I really hope this video helped you out and become a better Revenant player. And if it did, and if you enjoyed this content, clicking that subscribe button really means a lot to me. And if you enjoyed this video specifically, clicking that thumbs up goes a long way. If you did not enjoy it, you're more than welcome to click the thumbs down as well. But either way, if you did or didn't click any of the things that I mentioned, I hope you have a good evening, afternoon, morning, night, or whatever it is, wherever you are. But thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos.